A very good morning to one and all. Today we'll be dealing with the topic about central bank. The session will have these specified learning outcomes. Point number 1, what is the rationale behind financial regulation? Point number 2, what are the characteristics of a central bank? Point number 3, what is the RBI's constitution, its objectives, its functions? Point number 4, what are the monetary tools that are adopted by the Central Bank of India, that is Reserve Bank? And the last point, what are the regulatory restrictions on lending? So let's go by the first one. First of all, what is a banking system? It is a system that is regulated by the Reserve Bank of India in terms of an act. And what do you mean by an act? That is the Reserve Bank of India Act 1943. Also, one more act has been specified, that is a Banking Regulation Act 1949. Now, what do? They means the Reserve Bank of India act as a role of, or the banking regulator's role, and Security Exchange Board of India, that is another regulator which takes care in achieving the objectives of a stable banking and financial system. So I have already mentioned in the last session that Security Exchange Board of India takes care of securities market, and Reserve Bank of India is a much more widened thing which takes about the financial aspects. Let's go to the first objective, that is what is the reasons or what are the rationale behind the regulation of a financial or a banking system. First one, as it is very explicit from the statements, the objective is to maintain and promote confidence and trust in the public, because if public do not trust, then it's a question. So they have to ensure that the public trust and also they maintain that trust. So that is the first objective, why there should be regulation or why there should be a supervisor in a banking system. If there are no supervisors, there is high chance that things can go hayway. So we need a regulator. Point number 2, investor protection, which is very crucial. What does it mean? To protect the investor's protection or to protect the investor's interest by adequately or timely disclosures. I am sure you know about the accounting disclosures or the financial disclosures by firms. What does that mean is those people who are doing business with investors' money should ensure that the investors are clearly aware as to what is happening with their money. So the firm should be regulated or the financial system should be regulated. That is where our Reserve Bank of India plays. This is the second reason why regulation should be there. Third, we need a fair and an efficient market. Fair means it should be just, it should be true, it should be clean and clear. Efficient, you should have a better benefit. When you do something, you should get some benefit. So you need efficiency. At the same time, it has to be a fair play. For that, regulator plays a pivotal role. Clean. What is the next one? To ensure that the participants are measured up to the rules of the marketplace. See, there are certain rules which has been specified. For example, I am sure you know about a concept called insider trading. So if you people, that is the firms or the institutions themselves, take things for granted and make others fool, it is against the rules of the market. Similarly, a bank should not lend to risky deposits more than certain percent. They should be clear, because if they are doing, they are literally collapsing or literally creating a chaos in the market. So what are the rules? The bank should not enter into the gambling area. So these are certain rules, and for that regulation is mandatory. Now, once we understood, okay, this is the reason why need a central bank, next we should know what is a central bank and what are its characteristics. Or if you call this is a central bank, these characteristics should be there. Point number 1, it is the apex institution, that is the head of all or the big boss. It is the apex bank of a country that implements the economic policies. So economic policies means those policies which will affect the economy very, very sharply. Second crucial point, There should not be any profit motive. In fact, it is a wholehearted service. So what they do? They aim at maximizing the public welfare through monetary means. So that hardcore objective is welfare of the social being, that is welfare of the public. Point number 3, control the economy. Cool. So central bank, what they do? They have certain credit control mechanisms. We will deal that in subsequent sessions today itself. So those mechanisms by which they either ensure that the market is expanded or contracted. When you expand, when you need more and more money, or when you need more and more active market. When you contract, when things are not going in the right direction, you ensure some restrictions. What are these? The next one, use of monetary means. As I have already said, these terms we will be dealing in a short span of time, but just one liner. Central bank, what they do? They control the money supply, that is inflow and outflow of money through monetary means. What are those monetary means? They are, point number 1, bank rate. Point number 2, open market operations, also abbreviated as OMO. Point number 3, policy reserves, or in fact you call it as SLR and CRR rates. So the bank will either increase these or decrease these depending upon situations. Within another 15-20 minutes, we will deal each item specifically. Now, once we, now I got something that these characteristics form a central bank. Now, what is RBI's constitution? RBI is our central bank, that is India's central bank. The constitution of RBI. First, it is constituted under an act that is called Reserve Bank of India Act. It is 1934. Point number 2. It is a state-owned institution under the Reserve Bank. So, Reserve Bank, it's a state-owned institution, which means there is a transfer of public ownership of India Act. So, as per the Act, this has been implemented. Point number 3, Central Board of Directors. So, RBI has directors which include, first, the top position is the governor, second is or assisted by 4 deputy governors. Third, 14 directors appointed or nominated by union government. I'm sure you know who is the current governor. He is in the newspaper at all times. He is Dr. Raghuram Rajan, and you can see enough and more responses, enough and more views either from the central government as well as the Reserve Bank of India. So daily if you see a newspaper, you can see something on it. So what these people are doing is they are looking at how to build a strong economy. Right now we have got a stable economy, but can it be more efficient? Can it be more enhanced? Can we have more fair and strong mechanism to ensure that our market or our system is more stronger? Now, more about RBI. We just said about the interaction, that is, there is the constitution and this is the structure of RBI. So what is RBI? A little bit in depth. First one, I'm sure you might have studied a session on business law which talks about separate legal entity and all those things. So this is exactly the same aspect, but from RBI's perspective, it is a body, it's a corporate body having perpetual succession. Which means, as I have already said, you might have studied this keyword earlier in a business law subject. It has a common seal and can sue or shall sue in its name. So, which means RBI is a separate legal entity and it can sue someone or it can be sued by someone. RBI has a common seal. RBI has perpetual succession. So, in fact, all factors of a company. Second, from where the money is for the Central Bank of India? It is purely of the central government. That is, it's held with the central government. Next, where are the offices? The HO or the central office is in Mumbai, and they have got offices in all metros. In fact, Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi and Chennai. So, they have got branch offices also in state capitals and other cities. So, they have a very wide network. What do? They functions, that is, these offices enforce regulations and monitor, and banks functions as per the directions of the Central Board of Directors. Now, what does a board consist of? I think which we have mentioned in the earlier slide about the structure. It consists of a governor and not more than 4 deputy governors appointed by the or nominated by the central government. So a governor and 4 deputy governors. Next, as far as deputy governors, executive directors and other officers are concerned, we have got different grades. I am sure, and it's my request for those people who are pursuing their MBA and who wanted a strong area or a strong job in the financial sector. Trust me, there are enough and more opportunities in RBI itself. So please browse the website www.rbi.org.in. It's worth it. You should browse, because as a finance student, forget finance student, as an Indian we should see what is our regulator's job, and they are explicitly giving all directions what they are doing, including day by day their movement is being recorded. So we should know how our country is, what their functions are. In practical view, you should see the website. This is a theoretical aspect of it. So as I have said, they have got officers and governors and executive directors in different grades, and what they do is they help in discharging banks' functions. So they have given enough and more job for these people to monitor and regulate. Next, we have earlier stated about the Constitution of Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. Let's go something into it, what it is. Point number 1. Incorporation, capital management and business of the bank. So RBI Act explicitly gives insight on these. If you want to incorporate, these are the rules. What is the capital management and what are the business of the banks? Point number 2. The central bank functions. I'm sure you have studied this in detail in your UG sessions, but an overview also we should know that. The bank manages note issue, they do the monetary control, that is what cash reserve ratios and statutory liquidity ratios. Central bank acts as a banker's bank, which means the apex bank. Then they act as a banker to the government, and the last function is a lender of the last resort, which means if you don't have anyone, it is not you, I'm talking about the banking structure. So banks can request or ask help from Central Bank of India as a lender of last resort. Next, management of foreign exchange and foreign reserves. I am sure you might have heard about what do you mean by foreign exchange and what are our foreign reserves. So Reserve Bank of India again monitors how our forex is, that is foreign exchange. What is the movement? What is the issue in it? Are we going in a bad direction or in a right direction? All those things broadly. Next, it clearly asks, it collects and ensures that the bank furnishes the credit information. Why this credit information? This is very crucial, because if we are not having correct information of credit, our banking system might end up in a chaos, because they might be lending to the wrong people who will not pay back. I'm sure you might have heard a word called NPAs, that is non-performing asset. So if your credit management or credit process is wrong, what it will happen? Your NPA will increase, which is bad. So this Apex Bank ensures that every quarterly they submit their credit information so that they can monitor, and if there are some correction measures, they can do that on the spot. Next, financial, that's again as a godfather, what they do is they supervise banks on financial matters, and they also look at financial institutions. How are they doing? Are they better? Where are they missing? Why are they missing? How they can overcome? I'm not talking about micro level, a macro level perspective. Next, acceptance of deposits by, we are having another session exclusively on non-banking financial institutions, but generally in this session we are not touching what it is, but acceptance of deposits by this NBFIs or NBFCs, and they are also asked to furnish all the details. So Reserve Bank of India not only look at scheduled commercial banks. What do you mean by scheduled commercial banks? Those banks which are scheduled as per the RBI Act. Now NBFCs are not scheduled commercial banks, but still RBI ensures that they also submit the returns and they also give adequate details about the financial statements. RBI also has the power to say, boss, stop your business and leave, which means winding up petition. So if you are not doing clear-cut business, you are not transacting the business in the right manner which is expected, this godfather can say, stop it, now you cannot continue in this game or in this system. So that's called RBI also has the power to say, stop your business, file winding up petition. Now we are going to what are the objectives of our central bank, that is Reserve Bank of India. Point number 1, which is closely associated with what RBI, which we have dealt in the last 2 slides. But this is much more specific. So what this contains, it talks about it always, again please note, objective always starts with the letter 2. So to maintain, to ensure, to stabilize, all those things. So this is the exact format which we should also follow. I'm sure you might be doing research and all those things. So that's also crucial. So what is the objective, which means what is the purpose of it?